Hey Shooby-Doodlers, how are you doing? Today I'm going to show you how to draw characters from different directions. In fact, let's go and have a look and see this going backwards. It's all about practice drawing and getting your mind to think in 3D, but let's not talk about it. Let's do it.
So the question I get asked an awful lot is about designing characters and how do you make them consistent? Well, I think I kind of base everything around a circle, and I kind of think of this as being the brain box. I've done this before, but I'm going to do this with Penny and Benny. So, in fact, Penny's a little bit more of an oval, really. Oval. So, put a line down the middle, and kind of a line across there. Then her ears are going to go up there. So she's a little bit wider than her head's a little bit wider than it is taller. And then her eye's going to be kind of on that line, and then her nose, and then her mouth, and she'll be kind of like that. But then we want to draw her from different angles, so we have to think of this as a globe rather than an oval. We have to think of it as a three-dimensional object, and so let's do that a bit of an angle like that, and then so we have to kind of draw it around like this. Now, I'm going to put a little link up here to my how to draw videos, which will show you how to do, how to work out spheres and things like that. So that would be something like that. And so we can put an ear up there, and we're going to see an ear there. And then this is where the eye will be, and the nose will be about there. And then we can put the neck in like that, and then let's try another one, but have her looking up this time. So we'll want that to be about there. Nose and ear. And can we squeeze one more in there? What could we do here? Just a kind of just a sideways kind of looking thing. I know that often presents problems. So just sort of straight sideways. That eye is going to be here. It's going to be slightly bigger than the one on the other side. And there's the face. Now Benny is slightly different because so that's his kind of brain box. Does he have much? Yes, he does. He's quite a bright dog. So, but then we kind of got this snout stuck on the front, which from the front is going to look a bit kind of weird. And so we want the eyes and ears. And I don't draw him from the front much really, because it kind of doesn't really describe him that well. But this gives the basic kind of idea. So if we did that kind of angle again, we'd want the brain box like that. But then, see, we got that stuck on the front, but then we got this kind of bit stuck on the front as well with the nose. And then we're going to want ears like that, and that looks much more like him somehow. And if we do again, so we're going to do this same kind of pattern here. So we're going to have the brain box, that's the brain box, and we're going to have this kind of nose stuck up, looking up. So maybe he's kind of smiling or doing something. And we're going to have some of his eye probably missing, hidden by the snout, which doesn't quite feel right at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. And we'll have kind of one looking sideways-ish. So we're going to want straight round there, straight across, so that will be going pretty much kind of around like that. That looks about right. So if I ink these in, then that'll make much more sense probably, and you'll be able to see what's going on. I had a message from Katie Felgar, who says, how do you come up with what animal best fits the person or people you're drawing? I don't know. Quite often that comes right at the beginning, I think. Let me put that in, the whiskers in. Quite often that comes right at the beginning, and you think, oh, I got this idea for a cat who's going to do something or other. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of it's the idea that presents itself to you, really. But I think if you are just sort of starting from scratch and thinking, I want to do something, then animals have certain kind of, they don't actually have human traits, do they? But they appear to. So, like, we have the wily fox, and so we'll just put whiskers in there while I remember. So we have a sort of a wily fox, and I think a smelly pig, and although everyone tells you pigs are not smelly, so it's stereotype. So I think it's very difficult it's very hard not to get stuck into stereotypes when you start using animals for drawing. And you can draw a stupid looking cat, you can draw an intelligent looking cat. You can draw a dirty pig, or you can draw a really smart pig in a fantastic suit or a frock or something like that. And twist the stereotype around. So there are no rules. It's a feeling, I suppose. Why was the three little pigs three little pigs? Did they need to be pigs? I suppose little pigs, then that makes them kind of piglets. In theory, makes them kind of small and vulnerable. And I suppose in times when everybody lived on farms, did foxes take pigs? I don't know. Did foxes eat pigs? In the storybooks, the fox is always sort of much, much bigger. It's almost like a wolf compared to the pigs. And foxes are much more interested in chickens, really. So why wasn't it three little chickens? Because chickens don't really make houses of brick, and I suppose pigs are quite human in a way. And what other classic things have we got? The wolf is obviously always going to be there to be the real big baddie, but the wolf is a dog, so you could have a bad dog, you could have a good dog. Let me do the nose first, and I'm going to give him teeth like that. That's big smiley teeth, and he has nice big kind of bold eyes. I think you just try things like the very hungry caterpillar. It's the thing about caterpillars, they just eat all day, don't they? And that's kind of what they do, chomp, chomp, chomp. And but what do you do there? Do you start off with the idea of a story for something that's eating all day long, or do you think, oh, wait a minute, this story is all about this thing turning into a butterfly at the end, in which case it must be a caterpillar, so we start off with a caterpillar. So it's really all about the story, and if you choose some animals, they are just not going to work. And yet in the next story, if you did something very similar, that animal might work because you're twisting it around and confounding the expectations of the reader or the viewer, if it's going to be an animation or something. And so I think you just try things. Penny and Benny, if you go to this video up here, you will see originally were actually humans, and I got into such a pickle with them. Hang on, let's just give him a shirt collar. I got into such a pickle with them as humans, and then suddenly one day it was, I was giving up on the whole idea of the story, and suddenly it was like, oh yeah, we do animal stories to get away from all these problems I'm having with the humans in this story. And so I thought I needed a man and a woman, basically. I need a couple, married or not. Although I think as far as my story is concerned, at the moment they're not married, but they're living together. And I think at some point there's going to be a story about them getting married. So, so that's sort of in the future. And then I was thinking, what do I have? And then I was thinking, what kind of characters do I have? I need a man and a woman. Because I knew the whole thing is that they're going to have a family. There's going to be babies involved. I just had the hairdryer over that to make sure the ink is absolutely dry before I erase those pencil lines. So, of course, a cat and a dog that can't have babies. It's an interspecies thing. That is the whole nub of the story that set these characters off in my head, really. And not the interspecies bit, but the having a baby and kind of deciding what the parents were going to look like. I just found that so difficult. So in the end, it's the nature of the story is that these two can have children. They can have puppies and they can have kittens. And so basically the kittens represent the girls and the puppy and the dogs represent the boys. So it kind of worked out absolutely beautifully, but it's something that has evolved, and I haven't really sat down and thought, right, I'm going to write a story about something or other, and they're going to look like this and they're going to look like that, and just got on with it. This story has been evolving for at least 10 years, I should think. And I have stories like that which are just ticking away, and I just don't know. And I sit down and work on them every now and then. And the characters aren't right, or something isn't right, and you just can't get it to work. And so I leave it, and I come back again later, or I'm out for a walk one day, and suddenly go, wait a minute, that's what I need to do. And then I can go back to that story and think, all right, I need to completely change that bit. And quite often you have to change the bit that you're really, really pleased with. The bit that you think, but that's the whole best bit. That's the bit you have to throw out, and that's probably the bit that's been holding you back. And you throw it out for the sake of the story. In the end, it's not about you, it's about the story, and the story is the most important thing. So you just have to sort of give way every now and then. And have to be prepared to take the time, and have to be prepared to allow things to develop. And some things just don't want to be forced. So back to character design. So another thing you want is consistency. So we can do that here in the colouring, of course. So I'm going to give her like a reddish kind of pinky top. Like that, and I'll give him something kind of greyishy purple. It's just the first thing that comes off the palette like that from a mix of mushy colours. Oh, and he hasn't even got a shirt on there, has he? Let's put that. That's very quick and rough. So it's about consistency, and here you can see it's been consistent with all these colours all the way through, and consistent with brush strokes. And we need to do little ones there, and then there'll be bigger ones around this side. We put some in her ears as well. And the thing about these characters is that I want them not to be looking absolutely perfect. These are looking too perfect, actually. I want them to be kind of quite a rough sort of drawing style, free, sketchy drawing style, because they're kind of like I'm sort of doing them on a blog, so that it's kind of like the snaps selfies. Selfies are quite often very posed, aren't they? But I want them to be much more kind of like like a picture that's taken in the moment and hasn't been posed. So this is the other thing with consistency, is the consistency of markings. And so the brown goes over this eye and just kind of around the other one. And then we can have a little bit of sort of shadow underneath there. And after that, I think what we really need to do is to worry about the eyes. So I'm going to put, oh no, and then her nose needs a bit of attention too. So I'm just going to put a little bit of shade in the eyes. And her nose needs to be just slightly pinker. And I'm not worried about the brush going sort of over the lines. That's okay, it can be like that, it can be quite a bit of shading underneath there. And then if it's watercolour, you want to just kind of let it dry a bit before you kind of add an extra, any extra on top. So just putting a bit of darker under the ears shade, really, isn't it? In there. A bit more under there. So I think the secret is just to do lots and lots and lots and lots like this. You can see this is my practice sheet, and you just got to do lots and lots of these and just draw again and again and again. So while you're watching TV in the evenings, you just sketch and sketch and sketch and just really get to know the characters so that you can draw them without the pencil. So I can sort of think, oh well, I haven't given Benny his he has a little sort of top knot in his hair, and I can just kind of draw him now without having to think too hard. And Penny as well. And then, but you see, there are lots of little expressions and things that you need to sort of think about. So it's kind of learning to draw the face in different ways, but then it's also working out the expressions and sort of different animals. So Penny is a bit more reserved, and so she won't do massive, great big facial expressions, whereas Benny's kind of a mad sort of puppyish dog, and he'll be making great big wild kind of yeah kind of expressions. With lots of ding 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 kind of marks around his head. So these all these little kind of things add to the character. So the range of expressions sort of adds to the character. As I say, Penny's quite muted. Benny is much more bouncy and much more open-faced and sort of keen to show his emotions on his face. So all these things go into the character. And as I said about choosing what animal, it's kind of the animal chooses you in a way. So you just have to take your time. Practice, 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 as I keep saying. It doesn't happen in a day. You have to put a lot of work into this. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, make sure you click down here on the subscribe button and make sure you're subscribed to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel for lots more drawing videos every week. In the meantime, keep drawing, practice, 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 and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye-bye.